So I just got out of watching Hell of a Summer. This is a horror comedy that I was looking forward to. This is the directorial debut of not only Finn Wolfhard, if that name doesn't sounds familiar. That's Mike Wheeler from Stranger Things, and you have Bill Brick in this as well. He helped direct and write with Finn. They also star in the movie. Bill plays Bobby. Finn plays Chris. But our main character here is Jason. He's the oldest camp counselor here. He's been there for like 6 years. People think he's a lot older than he is. He's only like 24. His mom's kind of fed up with him just being a camp counselor. Wants him to take his career serious and be a lawyer. But he really just likes being at camp. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like the star there. The opening kill we see are the actual head camp counselors that get offed. And that opening kill set the tone as far as what to expect from the kills in this. And that's going to go into one of my biggest issues with this movie. But this movie is pretty much a satire of a bunch of Friday the 13th movies and other slashers from the past. Mainly Friday the 13th. There are like little hints of Scream, a little hints of like Halloween and stuff like that, the original. And we get introduced to all these other camp counselors there. There's a shit ton of characters in this movie, which I was like, damn, they're all going to pretty much die, for the most part. I am surprised on how many people survived at the end of this movie. Makes me think, like, do they want to do a sequel to this movie? But I'm jumping ahead. A lot of this movie is just them at camp and them just making jokes and stuff like that. Some of the jokes hit, some of them don't. And there's a killer amongst them, which I like the design of the slasher. He has like this devil mask, and I'm not going to go too much into detail with that. But where my issue lies with this movie is this is a rated R movie. This movie lacks in on-screen kills. There's a lot of kills, but a lot of them happen off-screen, and that just pisses me off. That pisses me off to no end, because this movie pretty much could have been PG-13. The only reason it was probably rated R is because of the vulgar language and stuff throughout the movie. Now, I will say as a debut, I think this movie is really well shot. It just really lacks with the kills, and I think that's what's going to really piss people off, especially if you're expecting a straight-up slasher, which this is not a straight-up slasher. It's more so a satire. It's just kind of making fun of those movies, but it does it in a clever way at times, but other times, like, characters are very annoying, and that's pretty much, like, on purpose, because when you watch something like Friday the 13th, you don't really connect with any of the characters outside of like whoever ends up being like the final girl. Like I said, some of that stuff worked, but the biggest issue I have is just the lack of on-screen violence, and that shit just didn't work for me, man, and it just dropped the score I have for this movie down significantly. If they had some really dope on-screen kills, like if every kill was being shown, I would have gave this a little bit more props. But like I said, this is their first go around, so I'm not going to be too harsh. I just feel like if they do end up doing a sequel, they should learn from that, put some more kills in there, because there was some interesting things they were doing with this movie. It's not too, groundbreaking or anything. It's nothing revolutionary. It's pretty safe. It's too safe, I would say. But from just a cinematic standpoint, there's some really interesting shots. Like, even from like the end of this movie, it was cool. My favorite character was definitely Bobby. Bobby was definitely the best character by far in this. I think a lot of his comedic timing worked more than other characters. Some other characters, you're just kind of waiting for them to die because they're just super cringy. Like, you have this vegan girl and then this dude that just is obsessed with screenplays and stuff like that. They literally make fun of him, that he monologues to himself. Um, and I would say, like, the mystery on who the killer is pretty interesting, because it's like, yo, there's so many characters. They kind of do a decent enough job of throwing you off up until a point, and the reasoning behind the killers is kind of hilarious to me. Some people might find it to be stupid, but it's kind of ironic, I will say. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but this movie is going to be very disappointing for a lot of people. I don't see a lot of people walking out of this really enjoying it. Maybe they'll understand, and the humor will click with people and they will enjoy it for just that. But if you're expecting like a straight up slasher, a brutal slasher, you're not going to get that in this movie. But if you get around to checking this out, let me know your thoughts. Who are some of your favorite characters? What could have they improved on, in your opinion? Till next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.